All right, everybody, welcome back. Today in front of me, I have a brand new watch, one that I'm super excited about. It's actually the one I've been most excited about to receive. I did get this during the 11/11 sale. This, of course, is from AliExpress. It is related to the same brand I just reviewed, which was Red Star, that 1963 bronze watch with Lume. I'm not really 100% familiar with how all these Chinese brands work together and are owned together. My understanding is Sugess and Red Star have some connection. They're all using Seagull movements inside, but I don't know if they have any relation to the sea-gull brand. Yeah, it's the Chinese watch conglomerate is very complicated and confusing, but this one I'm very excited about. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. And first, I want to say I really like the packaging. This is kind of the packaging that I expected to receive on a $500-something watch like that bronze Red Star 1963. This is very nice presentation so far. I guess this is the Sugess logo. It's like a lion with wings, and then they have their other brands on here too: Sea Stern and Sea Cores. Let's see if any of this is in English. Yeah, it's pretty nicely put together. All right, very cool. I actually will need that owner's manual this time to help me set this watch up. We have a warranty card. I don't know what the warranty is, unfortunately. And let's see here. Here we have the watch itself, which is absolutely incredible. Moonphase, my first Moonphase, and it has the Aventurine glass dial, which I'll zoom in on and just kind of share for a minute here. So they make this dial by adding copper flake into the glass, and it's just absolutely incredible. Looks like the night sky. Awesome. All right, well, I'll put this down for a second and look at what else we have in the box here. Got a nice removal tool and a nice strap as well. Brown, I guess, like alligator. Kind of nice. The strap it comes on is my preferred color for this watch, so I'm just going to keep it on that. And I'm right away, just looking at the watch, I'm getting a Login Sana vibes or maybe Glashuta vibes from just the overall fit and case design, just like the size of it and everything. And of course that jump hour in the middle is super cool. This being my first Moonphase, I'm pretty excited about this watch. I have to say, so far the anti-reflective coating I'm not pleased with. You can see my lighting and camera setup here. I mean, the actual sapphire crystal for looking through at the dial is fine, but the reflections are a little crazy. That's okay. So let's flip this over and take a look at what we've got on the back. We have a machined, movement and rotor. It's not the most beautiful movement on Earth, unfortunately. It's not horrible, but I would have appreciated maybe a nicer looking rotor. It just looks not much different than an NH35, for example. It's fairly industrial and not super high horology or anything like that. It tells you on here 316L stainless steel, 5 ATM, S401. I'm not sure what that stands for. Let's see, water resistant, Moonphase. I still have the plastic here on the back, but the strap is 21 millimeters and it says genuine leather here. And yeah, it's a quick look at the watch. To set the date here on the middle of the face, you have a button you press here on the side. That's your quick set, and then for the Moonphase, you can advance the Moonphase by pressing here. I don't think that there's anything that the crown does except change the time, maybe. Yeah, and then you can see that jump hour there. So very cool. So If you really want to, you could set the date that way, but the easiest way would be to take that tool they gave you and press it in here, which I'll demonstrate here in a second. All right, after great struggle, I got this tool out of that plastic that was in there. I'd like to take a second to call out the industry and just ask them to please stop using this plastic. It is absolutely the worst part of unboxing a watch. This stuff just sucks. Stop using it. All right. I guess I'll also take a moment to just ask anyone that's watching to consider subscribing to the channel if they haven't already. I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm pretty close. We only need about 45 more. It's been a long time coming, literally taking years and years to get this, but if you could just take a second and consider that, I'd really appreciate it. But otherwise, feel free to just keep watching the video. So you take this tool, or any tool really, and you go to either of the buttons here on the side and just press in, and you can see the moon starts moving. So that's how we'll set the moon to the correct position, and then similarly at the top here, you can use it to set the date quickly. So kind of nice. This is the first watch I've had that has had that kind of movement function. That's definitely a new thing for me. So let's get into other things like price, for example. I paid about 140 bucks for this watch, and I think it's probably the best $140 I've spent on a watch in quite some time. Let me get you the exact total here. So all in, my AliExpress 1111 deal got me this watch shipped to my door for $137. Right now it's listed back on AliExpress for about 140 something. Absolutely so far worth 130 bucks, 140 bucks. I don't know how you could argue that it isn't. Aventurine dial, moon phase, jump hour. I mean, it's a good looking watch, right? Probably the best value watch out there. And I'm really starting to appreciate all these Seagull movements. Obviously I have the ST2528 in two of my watches. So I'm getting more and more familiar with all of these. This is using the ST2528, 25 joule, 21,600 beats per hour. And of course, moon phase complication. Still don't know what S401 is. If anyone knows what that is, please let me know. I'm not familiar with what that would be referring to. Let's go ahead and get you some measurements here. So as far as dimensions go, this is a fairly big watch, I can tell. Looking at 41 potentially. Yeah, 41, maybe 42 on the case. To the crown, we're looking at 45. Lug to lug is 48. Obviously, we got 21 millimeter strap, and then thickness is pretty chunky at 14, but for a moon phase complication, not bad at all. Let's see here. Let me get this wrist. Let me get this watch on the wrist and show you what it looks like. All right, let's get you that wrist roll. I'll zoom out and show you how it looks there. Fits me fairly well. Little on the big side for my tastes, but doesn't wear gigantic. It's definitely not too thick. The rotor on this watch is very noisy. I don't know if you were able to hear it. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can hear that, but very, very noisy rotor. Sugess calls the Aventurine glass a blue gold stone stardust dial with moon phase display. So whether it's actually Aventurine or not, I'm not sure. It certainly to me looks like it, but I'm not, an owner of any other Aventurine dial, so I can't really compare them. For the price we're paying, it wouldn't shock me if it's a cheaper alternative, but you're getting the same look. And it's a much deeper, more vibrant blue in person than it is on camera. I'm struggling to get that to show. It looks a little more dark on screen, but yeah, it's definitely more blue in person. All right, so I went ahead and set the moon to show on the moon phase complication because I'm going to look at the Lume here in a second. This is using Japanese BGW9. Lume is what they're telling me. And as far as I know, the Lume is supposed to be excellent. So let's turn that off and take a look at what we got. So I can already see charge on the Lume. And let me get this. Oh yeah. So you can see the moon there. The hands are super strong. We have Lume on all 12 indices as well as a small seconds hand. But yeah, the Lume looks good. I think I would do a time lapse on this to show you the strength of it, but it's a little too bright in the room right now. I'd have to wait until it gets a little bit darker out to do that. I don't have the setup to show time lapses for Lume right now, unfortunately. But I'll get there eventually. So let's go ahead and move into my final thoughts. All right, well, I got some very disappointing news, unfortunately. This watch is not running. I looked in the owner's manual and I read everything that I could, as little as there is. This is supposed to be a small seconds hand, and I haven't been able to get it to start running. And I'm not sure why that is, so I'm guessing that something internally is messed up with the watch, which is super disappointing. I was actually very excited about this watch, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. I guess it is a $130 watch. You are dealing with a Chinese company, and the movements just don't have the same quality control that, you know, Japanese and Swiss movements have at this point. So it's a risky take when you buy something from a brand like this. I'm sure that the warranty will be fine, and even if it's not, AliExpress, you know, accepts returns. So it's just disappointing. It is a beautiful watch, and I just can't get it to run for whatever reason. So I'm not gonna harp on that anymore. I mean, it is what it is. That can happen to anyone. It could happen with the Seiko. It's just a lot less likely, obviously. So something to consider when you're buying a watch like this. Unfortunate that it happened to me, but I'm still going to go through and rank everything else on the watch. Obviously, quality control is probably going to take a little bit of a hit there, but yeah, I'll be back with you shortly. All right, for this final portion of the video, I'm taking the gloves off, kind of literally and figuratively. So I'm going to go through all the things about the watch and kind of rank them 1 through 10, give you my consolidated average of how I feel about the watch. So I guess let's just go right into, you know, everything. So as far as the dial goes, that's really the main star of the show here. Whether it is Aventurine or not, I like the look of it. I think it's an awesome dial. So I'm going to give the dial a 9 out of 10. Moving on to the Lume. That BGW9 Lume was very bright, nice color. I think it suits the watch. They got the Moonphase window as well. I just think that's an awesome touch. I'm going to give the Lume an 8 out of 10. I couldn't get macro shots, again, because of this anti-reflective coating, or lack thereof. It's very difficult to determine whether the imperfections are a reflection or whether they're on the hand itself. In person, I can see the hands are well finished, and I like the style that they chose for this watch. I think it suits the watch nicely. I like the small seconds hand especially. I think that's a really classy looking seconds window and seconds hand. So I'm going to give the hands a 7 out of 10. Crystal, it's nice that it's sapphire, but the anti-reflective coating is awful. I mean, you can literally see my entire office. Everything in here is reflecting off the crystal, and it makes for very poor photos and for poor video. And it's actually equally annoying in person trying to look at the Aventurine dial. It's a shame that they could not improve this, because the watch deserves to have good clarity. So for crystal, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. The crown is nice. I like the size of it. I think it suits the watch and the style. So I'm going to give that a 8 out of 10. QC, quality control, as well as fit and finish. The fit and finish is actually very excellent on this watch. I think the watch is well built. The case is well designed. I like the polishing. I like the brush areas. I think that the overall look and everything is good. It's in alignment. I don't see any like major imperfections that are standing out. But unfortunately, the watch doesn't run, right? So that's a quality control issue. It could have happened in transit, but you know, you got to anticipate that stuff when you're shipping watches too. So as far as QC fit and finish, you know, it might have gotten a 7 from me, but it's unfortunately going to get a 4 because of the fact that it just doesn't run. Case, I'm going to give it an 8 just because I really like the look of the case. I really like the fit and finish on the case. I think it suits the watch. I like the watch a lot, and I like the case especially. So the case gets an 8. The strap, I think, is an excellent pair for this watch. Is it all that special? No, but they did a very good job matching the color and the style to this watch. It might have been nice to see the underside of the watch be black rather than tan, just because this is kind of a night sky, and when you see overlap on the buckle, it's tan instead of black. Consider maybe in the future doing something like that, maybe making the underside blue or black rather than tan. So the strap is going to get an 8. Actually, I'm going to bump it to a 6, unfortunately, just because there's nothing all that crazy special about this strap. But it does look good for what it is. And they gave me an extra one, too. So the strap is going to get a 6. All right, the movement, it's really incredible that they're able to get, a date complication as well as a moon phase into this watch. I really like the date window placement, that kind of almost jump hour look they got going on up there. I really, really like, I guess, the jump date, I should say. But yeah, I really like the look of that, and it's pretty incredible that for this price that they're able to put out a date and moon phase complication. But the finishing on the movement is just fine. It's just like subpar, I'd say. It's what I would expect from a basic NH Seiko, if not a little bit lower quality as far as finishing goes. And couple that with the fact that the movement actually isn't working. Unfortunately, this movement is going to get a 2. It could have gotten, a 6 from me just because of the complications. I haven't put it on a time grapher because it doesn't run, right? So I don't really know what I could say about the movement other than the fact that the finishing is could be nicer. And I actually would, if they could make the finishing look better and make a nicer rotor, I think they could even bump the price up on this watch, because this watch looks like a $250 to $300 watch minimum to me, and I got it for much less than that. So I think that if they can get their stuff together, figure out the movement, they could charge even more for this watch, and it would be worth it. But yeah, that movement, unfortunately, is going to get 2 just because it doesn't run. History and heritage, moving on to that. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot of history or heritage with this, just because this is a fairly new brand, relatively speaking, and it's from AliExpress. I personally like the weird history of Chinese watch brands like Seagull and Red Star and Sugess and all that. I think that it's kind of fun, and the fact that they bought Swiss watchmaking equipment to make, from Venus to make these movements, and the ST1901 and the Chinese Air Force and all these other things they got going for it. I think there is history and heritage to these watches, despite what a lot of people might think. And I like the branding. I think that they're building a strong brand for Seagull specifically and for Sugess. So I'm actually going to give it a 6 for history and heritage, just because I think it's there and it deserves that. Overall looks of the watch, again, I have raved about how this watch looks, how much I like this watch, how much I was looking forward to this watch. I am going to give the overall looks of the watch a 9. And I think that might be a little generous, but I just love the look of the watch, and that's why I bought it. And it's here now in person, and I still think it looks like a great watch, and I wish I could wear it, because yeah, man, it's just so disappointing that it doesn't run. So now I got to go through the process of a return or a warranty. It does have a 1-year warranty, but if I send it back to Sugess for a 1-year warranty, they're going to repair it or replace the movement or do something and then ship it back to me. It would be probably a lot easier just to send it back to AliExpress and buy another one, or just get a full refund and move on to the next watch, which ultimately might be what I do, because it's not a good sign that the watch came to me not running. I would have question marks about the movement from here on out. And who knows if I got a working watch, you know, would it last a week? Would it last a year? Would it last 2 years? Like, who knows, right? Oh man, look at that dial. That dial's insane. But yeah, I mean, it's just disappointing, right? So, guess that's where we're at now. The overall average for the watch is a 6.64, which for the money is actually a fairly respectable score, in my opinion. This is going to be the first watch that I score this way, but I'm going to plan on doing that moving forward for all the watches that I review. For 130 bucks, you're getting a 6.6. It's pretty good. It just would be a lot. It would even be higher if it ran, right? So think about that. But anyway, that's all I have for today. Appreciate you guys joining me. Consider subscribing to the channel. These are all personal watches of mine. This is a personal collection that I'm building. Every watch that I'm reviewing is not sponsored. They are not sent to me. If they are, I will tell you. I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I need about 45 more. And yeah, I just appreciate you guys coming along with me for the ride and checking out this Sugess with me. All right, I'll see you in the next one.